First Step.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the First Step podcast. My name is Kevin. Thank you guys so much for joining me on our special episode. We have a college football preview, week 1. With us, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Charlie Pigskin. Everyone clap. You guys, if you're watching, you might look like Chucky Hoops, but this is a different person. His absolute, completely different twin. Don't worry about it. We also have us with us, Stupid Stu, the man with the numbers. Man.
Welcome.
Welcome to my show. Welcome to my show. Guys, I'm super excited. How are you guys feeling about college football?
I cannot fucking wait. I hope we're allowed to curse.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Best time of the year. Week 0 already happened. We have Florida State going down, all the dogs covering, and an FCS school beating the FBS school. Yeah. That's unbelievable.
The fact that FSU went down week 1, again, big homer guys here. We're from Miami. I don't care if you went to Florida. I mean, I don't think anyone here is an FSU fan. We have Florida guys. We have Tennessee guys. We have Miami guys. Fuck FSU. I'm so glad that they lost. I think, I said it in my early precast. I don't like FSU this year. I thought that they kind of lost everybody that they had. And we saw it. They were kind of hyped up. Like, I don't know why everyone was so high on FSU. They lost so many players. I don't understand it. Why was like the media frenzy over FSU was so high? I didn't understand it. I'm glad they lost. It just shows how great college football is. Anybody could lose. Also, quick question. Just I don't want to spend too much time on the game, but do you think that was kind of FSU overhyped or an underhyped Georgia Tech?
Both. I mean, what was overhyped for sure was FSU's D-line and their defense in general.
Yeah. Someone said it was like the best defensive line in the league.
Yeah,
I think Georgia Tech was a little underhyped. Brent Key's been an unbelievable coach over there, and they've been playing a lot better in the last year. Haynes King made plays with his feet. We've seen that all last year. He rushed for over 700 yards. Jamal Haynes, it was the Haynes show. And I think Georgia Tech, they returned some dynamic receivers. They just did enough. And
Georgia Tech slowly creeping up on my watch, man. They're kind of those teams, and with the new route break, with the college football playoffs, that's a team that could get in there kind of lower on the lower end. And now we actually, like, with college football, we have what we have with college basketball, right? We have like Cinderella stories that they can make a run on it and take it away from one of the big dogs. Georgia Tech's kind of one of those teams, they're young, they're exciting, and they can pump in when they need to. It'll be exciting to see them.
I would slow the roll on that a little bit. Just we've seen some weird results in
That's true.
In Ireland, like when Northwestern beat Nebraska a couple years ago and then didn't win another game.
Yeah.
So I think it's awesome for Georgia Tech, but as far as I wouldn't call them an ACC contender just yet.
Okay. All right. So let's talk in a little about. I say we go into some games this weekend. What do you guys think?
Let's take a look.
I can't wait.
Take a look.
Week
1. We're getting into it. We're dipping our toes into the sexy thing called college football. I have a few picks here. We're gonna go pick heavy. We're gonna go through a bunch of games. Not all games I'm in love with, not all games you guys are in love with, but I'm super excited. I'm actually going to start with kind of a shitty game, but I'm super excited for Coastal Carolina, Jacksonville State. I have Jacksonville at -2.5 at -110. I know what you guys are thinking. Who gives a shit about this team? Who gives a shit about any of these people? But I think it's a good bet, man. I have 2 units on it, honestly. I think Jacksonville State's good. I see this, 32-23 on Carolina, and I like it a lot. I think it's a solid pick. It's kind of a great filler for like maybe even a parlay. Throw it into one of these other bets we're talking about. Do you guys follow these teams that much or no? Yeah.
No, not without Coach Prime. Not without Coach Prime there. No.
I know, man. It's a shame.
That's Jackson State. That's not.
This is Jacksonville State. This is Jacksonville.
Yeah, this is it's Rich Rodriguez versus Tim Beck.
Yeah.
It's Tim Beck versus Rich Rodriguez, and I definitely would take Rich Rodriguez.
And that's no action there.
Guys, we're actually gonna have to take a quick break. I have a surprise coming for you guys. All right, give me 1 second. We'll be right back. All right, everyone, we're back. Sorry for the delay. With us now, the most beautiful man in the entire world. Javi.
First time you don't mention something about my hair.
Hey,
Or
if you
being
want,
hairy.
I can. I had one in the bag. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, give it to me.
Okay. Back from his time picking all his dingleberries, Javi.
That's fucking gross.
Well, hey, listen. I know that's something that you struggle with, and you know what? We're here for you. We're here as a family. Welcome. Our hearts and prayers go out to you and your dingleberries.
I appreciate it. I'm sorry I'm late. Happy to be back.
I'm
We're
guaranteed.
super excited
Guaranteed.
for
I just
college
thought about it.
football.
Guaranteed, you have a dingleberry that's at least 5 years old. At least. I'm just saying.
No, man. I waxed that bad boy. It's clean.
Take the over. I'll take the over on that.
Yeah. All right, so go back. We're getting back into college football, Hav. We're talking football. Actually, Hav, do you? I'm gonna throw you in the fire right now. What's your favorite game this weekend?
I mean, Miami, Florida. But
Okay, what's your second?
super homer bias?
What's your second favorite game this weekend?
Actually, this is kind of one that and Hamio had. I don't know if you had talked about it, but it's probably my biggest bet right now outside of Miami, Florida, is the LSU USC over.
Oh, there we go. Let's jump straight into the USC LSU game. And Hamio, what do you think? I have a bet here. I want to know what your takes are on it. I have the total over on points at -110. I have it. What do you feel about it?
Yeah, 63.5, I think is what it's at now. I like it all the way up to 70. I think Miller Moss is going to be good. I think USC, like where LSU's worst is interior D-line. They've just lost everyone and expected to get someone in the portal. They ended up not getting anyone. Their DBs last year were one of the worst of like the best Power 5 teams, and they didn't get much better. So I expect USC to take advantage of what LSU does worse. And then on the other side, I think LSU has the potential to be one of the best offenses in the country. They've shown every single year under Brian Kelly, they've been one of the best teams. And I know that they lost Jaden Daniels, but they still are going to have one of the best, and they lost Malik Neighbors. They're still going to have maybe the best offensive line in the country. And I think Garrett Nussmeier is a guy who looked good in the bowl game, was a big time heralded top 50 recruit. And we've seen first year QBs and good offenses take off. It's the same reason why a lot of people like Nico Yamaleva and Tennessee. I think Garrett Nussmeier and LSU offense meet all that same criteria. So I love the LSU offense. I think USC matches up well against LSU, and I think we're gonna see a lot of points.
You think if you had to pick a winner out there, you got LSU?
Yeah, I think what's hard this year in college football more than any is that there's more change than anything. There's changes to conferences, there's changes to like how the time works with 2 minute warning. There's changes to how imbalanced the schedules are across the thing, and there's just changes with the transfer portal and everything. I think there's more variance like we saw last week with Georgia Tech and Florida State. So LSU is one of those teams that has high end potential because they have high end talent. I think they could have a really big offense.
I was actually, I have a timer on my computer to see at what time you're going to start complaining about strength of schedule as a Florida fan. I have it right here.
I haven't talked about Florida schedule.
You already made a comment. You already made a comment in there. You already said that there's a problem with the strength of schedules. I already heard it. But we'll get into it. Also, you seem distracted. What's going on over there?
I just found out as I'm here that I'm drafting in a draft right now at 9:30 that I forgot about. So
oh boy, a fantasy
we'll be
football draft. We're
live.
going live.
So
yeah,
I'm
we're
gonna need help
doing a
from the
couple live
boys.
picks.
I'm gonna need help from the boys.
Oh, we're here. That's what we're here for.
What's your draft position?
I got the 8th pick. It's a 2 receiver, 4 points passing PPR league. So
Dynasty or no dynasty?
no keepers, no dynasty, just straight up. This is my first year in this league, so I'm taking over a team. But
Is
there's
it
no keepers.
12
It's
team or
just a
10?
pure redraft. 12 team.
Oh, nice.
Eight's not the best spot, but we're gonna make it work.
We're here for you. We're here
Exactly,
for you.
bro.
Let us know.
We'll find the first step difference right here.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the next big game. I think it's one of the one of the better games of the weekend. Notre Dame, Texas A&M. I mean, I feel like this is going to be an absolute incredible game. Texas A&M is getting hyped up all around. Notre Dame is Notre Dame. They're going to be always hyped up. I actually have Texas A&M -2.5 spread at -120. I think I think Notre Dame's a little overhyped this season.
You mean every season?
Yeah.
When is Notre Dame not overhyped? I feel like this is like the oldest tale in the book. Like Notre Dame's always overranked, overhyped. They end up shitting the bed. Or even like the years that they have gone deep or gone to the national championship, they get absolutely dominated.
I mean, it's
They're
the
just in a
Fighting Irish, right? Like they're an American staple. They're the Dallas Cowboys of college football. Stupid Stu, what do you think about this game?
stupid.
This is to me this is the most exciting game on this the opening weekend schedule. I've been going back and forth all the time on it. Both teams have had unbelievable situations just with the transfer portal and coaching changes. So Texas A&M, biggest improvement is in their secondary. You have the elite defensive line: DJ Hicks, Shamar Turner, Shamar Stewart, from Pace down here, the 5-star stud. That defensive line is terrifying. They brought in Cushing from Duke to improve their offensive line. Um, they had a pretty good numbers last year. If you look, they had the 21st scoring offense in the country, the 39th scoring defense in the country. They have a favorable schedule. They don't catch Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss. This is one of the teams I've been excited about 3-4 years in a row, and then they've let me down every year. And I just think that's kind of happening this year, even though I do like Elko. I'm actually a leaning Notre Dame. When you look at this Notre Dame team, and it is terrifying what's going on with the offensive line. Last year was a phenomenal season. They were ninth in the country in total points and eighth in the country in points allowed per game. They're top 10 in both stats. They just brought in Mike Denbrook from LSU, the offensive coordinator, who had the number one offense in the country last year. Al Golden, a defensive coordinator, has been one of the top DCs in the country. He virtually shut down Caleb Williams in Ohio State last year. They revamped the entire passing game. They brought in 3 grad transfers, one from Clemson, one from locally from FIU, the Chris Mitchell kid, who had an unbelievable season down here. They returned their Jaden's receiving core. They have Jordan Fajon, a lacrosse kid who tore it up as a walk-on over there.
And Leonard is QB's great, right?
Unbelievable quarterback room. Bring in CJ Carr, Riley Leonard. They love their running backs. They're replacing Audric Estime, but they bring in Price and Love. They love them. They have 2 NFL defensive tackles in there playing unbelievable, Cross and Mills. I think this team, and then not to mention, they might have the best free safety in the country after Caleb Downs and Xavier Watts. And then Benjamin Morris is a top 5 corner in the country. I mean, this team is filling out a lot of things. You have an unbelievable coaching staff, really good, strong offensive line recruiting. They're in a pickle here because of the situation with their left tackle losing Joe Alt to the NFL and then losing their left tackle. Personally, my lean on this game is Notre Dame first half. I think I'm going to hammer the first half. I kind of want to get away from that young offensive line in the second half in College Station. I think they can get overwhelmed by the Shamar kids and DJ Hicks. But I really think Notre Dame is top 10 defense in the country. I think it's week 1. You can win one of these muck fest games. This is a game that looks like it's going to be under no matter what number it is, and I'm hammering the Irish.
Yeah, that's why they call you Stupid Stu, man. That's why I love it. I like Texas A&M at -2.5. I think Texas A&M is a better team. I do appreciate Notre Dame is a good team. They have been upgraded this year. I do think that they'll end up getting that spot over there in the college football playoff. I'm not saying, I just think it's really hard going to College Station and taking the dub.
It is.
I do like.
By the way,
A&M.
Stu is absolutely bringing it right now.
No, I mean,
dude, it's a heck of an offensive coordinator hire. Riley Leonard can make plays with his feet like that. You need somebody who can make plays with their feet when you're playing against a defensive line that's just going to absolutely overwhelm you the entire game. Man, this is still a Texas A&M team that they just can't put it together. Now, mind you, Texas A&M's had 5 quarterbacks in the last 2 seasons. They just can't stay healthy at that position, so they've underachieved due to injury there. But this game, man, you can go back and forth 10 ways on it, and I think people are writing off the Irish a little too early just because of these offensive line woes.
Yeah, I think it being the first game. I think what's the QB's name over there? Weigerman, Connor Weigerman. I know he had some injuries the last few years. I do think he might be able to pull it off and stay healthy and hopefully take a dub for the Texas A&M. Next game I want to talk about. This is kind of a game that I said I want to watch this one live. I want to bet this one live. I got Penn State, West Virginia as West Virginia at +10.5. Right now they're at 8.5. I do think that's going to change closer to game day. I'm at +10.5 at +110. I'm going to bet that one live. I really, really, really like West Virginia to take on Penn State here. I think they're going to really put it to them. I think it's going to be competitive. I do think Penn State is going to come out on top of this one, but I do think West Virginia could get it close at least. What do you guys think, Charlie Pigskin over there?
I mean, in that one, I think I lean the West Virginia pick, kind of like a fade of Penn State. It's just Penn State has been like a team, especially last year, that just left a bad taste in my mouth. Like
Yeah.
so talented. They lost a lot of defense. They're still uber talented, but
Yeah, they're no
Drew
slouch, you
Aller
know.
was this, Drew Aller was this, super heralded 5-star #1 quarterback recruit that was just honestly one of the hardest people to watch last year. I don't think he's gonna be this great player this year. I'm on the clock right now. What do I want?
Uh-oh. Who do we have?
Um,
Who's available? Are we going wide
I mean,
receiver?
Puka Nakua, but he's hurt. I don't want to touch him. I took
I don't know.
Justin Jefferson in the 8th spot in the first thing. We're looking at Marvin Harrison. According to ADP, Marvin Harrison, Kyron Williams, Isaiah Pacheco, Devontae Adams. I don't like that.
No.
I feel, man, dude. I already talked. I got Isaiah Pacheco in 2 leagues, so I'm kind of leaning
HN
Kyron Williams.
baby, HN in the second round. Trust me.
Nah, it's too
I don't know
early.
if you listen to the fantasy football podcast. A-Chain, top 3 QB or top 3 running back in the NFL.
I said top 5 first of all.
Oh, he got taken. He got taken already, 15th overall.
I'm telling you,
But,
man, people are
on-
sleeping on it. He's been going
I
super
thought you
high
were
in every
8th.
draft.
What happened?
No, this is second round, man. Come on, keep up.
Oh,
Cal.
I
Keep
did
up.
not. Oh, you got Justin
I would go
Jefferson
Marvin
first,
Harrison there, by the way. FYI.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good
I
shot
like
clock.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Of those names you said, Kyron being hurt,
Say
kinda
less.
scares me.
Say less. Marvin
Okay, so-
Harrison's been taken. Speaking of college, but to get back to it, but West Virginia last year was like one of the surprises of the season.
Yeah.
Neil Brown was supposed to get
Neil
fired
Brown, yeah.
Yeah.
in his job, and he ended up being awesome. So, I mean, I think West Virginia kind of, I go back and forth. I think I still lean actually Penn State to cover because ultimately I think it's like a talent, just big advantage for Penn State. I think they'll be more comfortable knowing what Drew Aller's good at and honestly not good at. And Penn State's been recruiting really well, one of the most consistent recruiting teams year in, year out. And they don't lose to teams that they're better than. They just lose to every team that they're worse than
It's true.
every year under.
They have a Mario Cristobal situation going on over there. I think
No,
with West
Mario Cristobal lost to Georgia Tech last year. I don't know if you watched that.
Yeah, that's true. So I like West Virginia. I think they're one of the best offenses in the Big 12. I really do see them scoring here. I like them a lot. We talked about how Neil Brown is that guy did great last year, and I think that he's going to stick around for a while. I also think it's super hard to win in Morgantown. I mean, West Virginia is probably
Tough to win there.
one of the hardest stadiums to take a W there. So I really like them this weekend. Stupid.
Penn
Stu,
State's going in with Penn State's going in with 2 new coordinators too.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a tough place to play. Week 1.
USC is a good thing because that was not it last year.
Sure.
On offense.
No, yeah,
The
they
new DC is
they made
definitely-
a change there.
New DC is a downgrade, obviously. Manny Diaz was great there.
Manny Diaz, freaking Manny Diaz. All right.
I mean, I think the same thing as everyone else there. I mean, Penn State's got to prove they could throw the ball, and I don't know if Julian Fleming's the answer to really prove that. I do think they're going to take care of that game, but I would honestly lead West Virginia with the points. I think Morgantown's a tough place to play. Week 1, that's a tough game.
Yeah.
On
Okay,
my
next
own.
big game, I got SEC versus ACC, Clemson, Georgia. I like Georgia here at minus 13.5. I think Georgia's probably, if not the best team in the country, top 3. This is a talent pool that has everything. Clemson, though very good, I do think they've taken a step back from their previous success, and I see Georgia kind of routing them here. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go first. I mean, Georgia, it's pretty hard to sell this team short. I mean, you have 4 O-line starters returning. This is the most dominant offensive line in the country. This is the most elite quarterback with Carson Beck, got a Jacksonville out of Mandarin. They just picked up ETN, who's a playmaker in the backfield.
Yeah.
The receivers on the perimeter are much improved. I mean, they improved them last, but Dominic Lovett, Colby Young from Miami, we know he's a playmaker out there. The tight end's unbelievable. They bring in, he played half the season with Bowers being hurt. On the defense, people were able to move the ball a little bit versus them sometimes, but I mean, you got Michael Williams, you got Stackhouse coming off the edge. They just bring in 2 absolute studs, and Ellis Robinson, the #1 corner in the country. They flip KJ Bolden from Florida State, the #1 safety in the country. They have Malachi Starks, the best safety in the country, with Caleb Downs, and then Dalen Everett starts the whole year. I mean, this team might just smother teams. Personally, I think Georgia might run into trouble with the schedule. They play at Bama, at Texas, at Ole Miss. I mean, those are tough games.
I was going to say their schedule's kind of tough this
But
year.
this weekend,
Yeah, but this
Yeah,
weekend,
I'll jump
I think
out.
with Clemson.
Yeah.
So
I'll jump
yeah,
on this too,
Georgia's a
Seth.
team I think that could lose a game this year, but I mean, I'm not picking them to stumble versus Clemson. I mean,
Well, what I
I
love
don't see
about
it.
the college football playoffs is these big programs can lose a game and still have a chance to make it. Right? It's not a death sentence like it used to be. You could even lose a conference game. FSU is not completely out of it. If I mean, it's definitely a hit for sure because you could get in a situation where you have a tiebreaker and if you don't have those conference wins, then you might not make it. But I do think that like Georgia, Alabama, Texas, all these bigger programs, where you would have that one loss that might kill you in the past. Now you have a chance to be like, okay, let's make a run at it, get that second spot in the college football playoff, and still make a run for the championship. I do like
I don't
again,
think
yeah.
to
I think Clemson's
no,
gonna get rocked
for
here.
Georgia, I love Georgia. I think they're the best team in the country. The more I look at it, I think it's pretty easily. This is by far the best offense
Yeah,
they've had in the Kirby Smart era. Best quarterback, and then but like at each and every position, just about they're about as elite as you can get on offense. Defense, the talent is everywhere. Like Stu was going through, it's not as experienced as like those great Georgia defenses that won back to back, but they're still a top three defense easily in the country with the best offense they've had under Kirby Smart. I think they're just going to be really tough to beat.
yeah, I
And they're
agree.
going to, I think they rock Clemson, a team that doesn't even, is scared to go into the portal because of some weird sanctimonious BS.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Clemson's kind of they kind of have like this old school mentality, and that's just not the dynamic that the college the NCAA is in right now. Let's talk about the most explosive offense in my opinion in college football. Let's talk about the FIU Golden Panthers versus Indiana. They're playing here August 31st at 3:30. That's the only game that matters that day. I have.
Is it at Pitbull Stadium?
It's not. It's in Indiana.
No,
It's not at
it's
Pitbull.
at Who's Your Daddy.
I know it's not, but I just
If it was at
point
Pitbull
out that-
Stadium, I would almost
If
guarantee
it
the
was
dub.
that money line, FIU money line.
I would have absolutely bet the money line for FIU. In this case, stupid Stu, what do you think about this game?
I got a little cross action with you here on Kevin. With you, I'm leaving Indiana. I'm leaving the Hoosiers, 21 and a half. It hurts me to go against Keon Jenkins. He's from here, down from Miami Central, the sophomore. He was a sensation last year, a diaper dandy freshman. Um, I've been following Curtis Rourke, the transfer QB from Indiana, for a few years at Ohio. This kid I really like him, man. He's 6'5". He's a pocket passer. He's a big body. He's well experienced, well vetted. And man, Indiana, a great coaching staff, unbelievable. If you look at that defensive roster, they brought in about 9 or 10 starters through the portal this year. They were as active as almost anyone in there. Really, another really good class. All seniors line up that defensive, the entire starting defense. I just think this is too big of a task for FIU. This is too much for them to chew on. I just don't see it. I think Indiana's going to run away with this one.
Yeah. Okay. Charlie?
I disagree. I love everything about Indiana as a program with hiring Kurt Cignetti. I think they got really good players in the portal that he's coached and he's familiar with. They added Rourke, like Stu was saying, is a good quarterback. But this is the first game, and just because I think Kurt Cignetti is going to be good and successful at Indiana long term, and by the way, the big thing for Indiana is that there's no longer divisions in the Big Ten, so they're not stuck in the East like they've been with
Sure.
Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan. So they're going to have some breathing room going forward. But it's the first game. They were really bad last year. They're doing an overhaul of this team, and I think this like 22 is a lot of points to cover. Getting it over that 3 touchdown number, I think uh, Indiana can win this game easily, control it, and not cover that spread. That's a big number for a team that was one of the worst Power Five teams in the country last year.
Yeah.
But
I
I
agree.
still love Kurt Cignetti and I love Indiana, but that's a lot of points for a team that wasn't very good last year.
Yeah, I mean, listen, look, Keon Jenkins did great last year against Arkansas, did great against Western Kentucky. I think Mike McIntyre there has done a really good job. He's building up a program pretty much from the floor up, right? It was sad to see Chris Mitchell leave. To Notre Dame especially. But I do think that this is a team that's on the up and up. I do think that their offense might not be better, but I do think it's another year of experience. Not a lot of people have left. I kind of like it. I'm not going to say they're going to win. I do think that they're going to cover though. We there's always a expression here: good teams win, great teams cover, and I feel like
Right.
FIU is going to be a great team this year.
All right, boys. Quick question: Brandon Ayuk, Nico Collins, Debo Samuel, or Jalen Waddle?
Nico, I like Nico
Yeah,
Collins there.
I mean, my homerism says Waddle, but I think it's Nico.
My only thing is I have Nico and Jalen in another team. Should I go Ayuk or Samuel, or still say Nico?
Well, if you want to,
And if you don't want any of those, then I will go Debo. I would stay away from Ayuk.
Ayuk's got too much drama on him right now. I don't like
I
that.
know with the trade shit.
Yeah, I don't like that heat.
All right, I'll go Nico. Let's do it.
All right,
Best player, I
sorry
think.
about
There.
let's talk about the lesser known, the Miami nobody cares about. Miami, Ohio versus Northwestern. Charlie Pigskin, I know you're low on Northwestern this year. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I just think I always like fading a team that I think overachieved the year before because I think people reset their anchor of how good a team is a little too much and like overreact to previous years. One thing about Miami, Ohio, just to switch to Northwestern, is Miami, Ohio won the MAC last year and were one of the best teams in the MAC and are one of the favorites this year, but they got raided in the portal. This
They did.
is one bad thing about the portal is the MAC specifically has just been absolutely rated. It's probably the most up in the air conference as far as who can win it. Miami Ohio is still, like I
They'll
said,
probably
one
win
of
it
the
again.
favorites. Right, but Northwestern by 2.5 at home, I think that's, a fair line. Like I don't have a lean either way, but yeah, long term, I have the under on Northwestern 4.5, and this would be one of those 50-50 games that I really hope Miami Ohio is able to pull out and keep them from winning.
Stupid Stu.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with fading Northwestern a little bit too. They don't even really have home games this year. Just overall, their whole season, they got that new stadium coming up on the lake. It's looks like a high school stadium right now. It's a construction zone. I mean, it's gonna be a tough year for them.
Yeah, screw him. Screw him. I don't like him either. All right, how about we got UTEP, Nebraska. I have here, I like the total under on the total points there. I think it's 48 and a half right now. I have it at minus 105. I just don't think these teams are going to score as much as people have it. I do see Nebraska taking this. I think Nebraska is kind of an underrated team this year. I think they're going to kind of overachieve from what they've been expecting. UTEP is garbage. I mean, I think it's going to be an easy game for Nebraska. I just don't see them scoring as much. What do you guys think?
I agree. I think Nebraska is one of the best defenses, maybe in the Big Ten and maybe in the country. I do have a lot of questions their offense. Dylan Raiola, obviously incredible talent, number one pick, but you don't see true freshmen start, and there's a good reason for that. Like
Yeah.
that's a lot to rely on. You saw UCLA trot out Dante Moore, who was also a top 3 quarterback in his class, and he just was so inconsistent week in, week out. You just can't rely on true freshman quarterback, in my opinion, and expect a lot. If he did, it would be an aberration, and I hope he does it because
Yeah.
I've just always had a soft spot for Nebraska, and hope that they're able to, find their way and be competitive again.
Yeah.
But I
I'm
love
high
the
on this
under. I
Nebraska
really do
team.
like their defense.
Yeah, you like them
I'm
too,
high
Stu?
on this Nebraska team. It's Matt Rule's second year coming in. I think Dylan Raiola is going to be fine. You're returning 17 starters in Nebraska. It's one of the highest production returning in the entire country. I have a couple plays on them hitting their over 7.5 total wins on the season.
Oh.
I like the schedule. They play UTEP. I think that's a win. Colorado, Purdue, Indiana, Illinois, Rutgers, UCLA, Wisconsin. That's 8 wins right there. They're better than all those teams. They can upset some people. I think this Nebraska team can make some noise this year.
I like that. I like the future on Nebraska at 7.5 wins. Absolutely. What was it at? What was the spread on that, or what was the bet on that? Like the
I'm just I don't have the odds written down. You'll probably get even money on that.
That's great though.
But
I do like that bet a lot. I mean, again, I think
I do think
Nebraska's
it's
super
juiced to
underrated.
be over.
Yeah. Hav, what do you think about them?
Nebraska?
Yeah.
Yep. I'm on board with what they said. I kind of think their program. No, I'm serious. I think their program's on the.
I know.
You're up.
What?
What? Wait,
That
did you
they're on
say
the up
you're
and
up?
up.
Oh, they're on the up and up. I thought you said you're up like during the draft. The draft is more exciting to me right now than anything we're talking about, and it's not.
Yeah.
I just took Kenneth Walker. I just took Kenneth Walker because I wanted a running back, and I like him. Took him
Okay,
at 41st.
there we
I
go.
do like that. That's a good play.
Yeah, I think Nebraska. We're talking about.
Yeah, no, I think I think that
He retweeted. He retweeted us.
yeah, I basically retweeted. I like the
love that.
7.5. I like the 7.5, the over 7.5. I think it's going to be close to them hitting that, but I could see them winning 8 games this year, no problem.
Yeah. I mean, Stu kind of broke it down
Yeah,
for us.
yeah, I wouldn't really be shocked there at all.
All right, the next game I got is Colorado State, Texas. I personally have Colorado State covering the spread at 32.5 at -115. Only reason being, Texas running backs are down, both injured. Right? I don't think Texas gives 3 shit about this game. I know they're going to win. I think they're worried about next week against Michigan. They're going to be saving up their players, keeping them healthy. I don't think they're going to be running up the score on these guys. I mean, 32.5 is a huge spread. They're playing at home. I just don't think they want to. I don't think they care about covering the spread.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little worried about this one. This line opened around 35.5, and it's moved all the way down. You got it at 32. It's down to 31.5 now. Big money coming in on the Rams. It's year 3 for Jay Norvell. He has that air raid style. He's been doing really well there. I mean, this guy's been all over the Big 12. He was formerly at Nevada, UCLA, Nebraska. He's in and out of the NFL as a tight end coach. He's been doing pretty well there. Their passing attack's been impressing people. I know they have Torrey Horton, who's impressing. And I really think you could challenge the Texas secondary. I think Texas secondary is overrated, quite frankly. They were not very good last year. They have issues back there. They're not terrible, but you can get after them. So I can see how they could score some points. That's a lot of points to cover. When a spread moves 4 or 5 points, I'm staying away. I got no action on this game.
You're avoiding it.
I do agree with you, man. The injuries with Texas's camp, Michigan on deck. I mean, that there's a lot going on in that locker room right now. Yeah. They just want to get a win and get out of there.
I also just think that's a big number to cover for an opening week game. Yeah, I mean, I know Colorado State's not that they're not that great, but this isn't
they're pretty good.
Yeah, this isn't a Louisiana Lafayette type of trash team that these cupcake games that you see some of these bigger teams play early on in the year. For them to cover 32, that's a big number.
Yeah, I agree.
This is a huge year for Jay Norvell. Like, I just think it's time for Colorado State is a top 3 program of that bottom tier of conferences as far as investment and things like that. So Jay Norvell is one of the highest paid coaches. They have a NIL money more than most of their peers. It's time for them to challenge for a conference title, which they haven't done yet. So there's a huge year for Jay Norvell. My thing with the 32.5 is I just feel like Colorado State's Super Bowl is that game in 2 weeks against Colorado. So I think everything they've been doing all season is gearing up for Dion and prime time. So
yeah,
I mean, I don't have a play at all in this game, but it is an interesting one to monitor for both teams.
Prime time and arguably the best quarterback in the in NCAA. Don't forget prime time and prime time junior. Okay.
You guys think? Do you think he's overhyped?
Yeah, of course.
I do.
Yeah.
He holds on to the ball for 10 seconds every play. It's crazy.
His offensive line. What's great is his offensive line. I mean, they keep him going. To hold the ball that long is.
Dude, didn't he get destroyed last year?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's a product of him holding the ball for so long or a bad offensive line.
If I held that ball that long, I'll get destroyed either way.
He got sacked like over 50 times or something. It's like some absurd number.
It's not a sack if you hold the ball and you just get rocked. Like it is what it is. Throw the ball.
They brought in Jordan Seaton, the top tackle in the country, so they're hoping it's going to get a little better. But
he has a true freshman guarding his blind side. That's scary too.
Hey, it works. Listen, I have one more game here. I have Boise State, Georgia Southern.
How do you feel about David Montgomery?
Are you asking?
I like him as an RB2. Yeah, I mean,
David Montgomery's great.
Yeah,
what are your other options?
I mean, Ramon J. Stevenson.
No.
Tight ends, Don Kincaid's the best one. I think I'd rather get a second running back. There's enough tight ends left.
Montgomery, he's fine because he'll get work, and then he's a Jahmyr Gibbs pulled hammy. Not gonna work because I have a lot of Gibbs, but he's a pulled hammy away from being a top RB.
Yeah, it's true. Last game I have for college football here. Second to last game. We'll talk about the big one now. Boise State, Georgia Southern. This one I have the total over on 56.5 points at -110. Boise State, Georgia Southern. 2 offenses, 2 defenses that are absolute garbage. I think this game is going to go, at least 50 points here. The totals right now is 56.5. I think I have them 39-27. Boise State taking the W. So I like them here. I think that's an easy little bet, a great one. Again, we're getting a little parlay. You could parlay this one back with the Coastal Carolina Jacksonville State game. Get yourself some nice little plus money on that one. Do you guys follow Boise State or Georgia Southern? You guys like them?
Yeah, I think they're both good. Like you said, like Georgia Southern's an offensive-minded program.
Yeah.
Boise State's got a really good offense this year. Boise State's by far the favorite to be the G5 representative in the playoff.
Yes.
Like they're the big favorite. But I did find it interesting. I can't remember the name of the starter they named at quarterback, but it wasn't Malachi
The
Nelson. It
USC
was a five
transfer.
star.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't. But he wasn't named
He
the
got beat
starter.
out.
He lost. Yeah, he got beat out, but I
Yeah.
can't remember the name of the guy who beat him out. But Malachi Nelson not being named the starter makes me kind of like wonder if the top end of what Boise State could be is a little lower than what a lot of people were thinking most of the offseason. Because you see a big time recruit like Malachi Nelson transfer to Boise State, you expect him to in the
To get
Mountain
a
West to
starting
take the
job,
job
yeah.
and run with it. So it's a little that part kind of gives me a little pause on Boise State, but I do like the over. As far as I haven't looked deep into it, but I like the idea of taking an over when Georgia Southern and Boise State play.
Love that. All right, so we went through a few games. We went through a few picks. Any big games that you guys think that I missed? That any bets that you guys liked for the week? I know we missed obviously the big game. We're going to talk about that all the way at the end, Miami and Florida. But any other big games? Any other bets that you guys liked this weekend?
Just one
Yeah,
game I wanted to get a quick take on both of them. I don't know if you guys talked about the TCU Stanford game.
There you go, TCU Stanford. I do like that game. I think TCU is super underrated this year. I really like TCU to take the money line on this one. Go ahead, Stu.
I'll co-sign
That's an
that.
interesting game. I mean, Sonny Dykes is a really good coach over there at TCU. Man, Stanford's in a weird position this year. Just everything going around, joining the ACC. It's the most bizarre thing to me. Stanford,
They're just going to be
I think they're
traveling
going to
the
be
whole
a
time.
lot. I think they're going to be a lot better than people are giving them credit for. But man, last year's defense couldn't stop anything. They were one of the bottom 5 scoring defenses in the entire country. Week 1 against TCU, that's not a very good situation. I'm with Javi on that one. I'd lean TCU there.
Yeah.
I have a couple games I can go through if
Go through it,
Charlie
Stu.
Pigskin doesn't. So
I like
just a
TCU
couple. I'll be
for sure.
quick. I like Oklahoma, 42.5. Huge number against Temple. It's a Friday night game at 7. Temple, man, terrible right now. That program's about to fire Stan Drayton. It's looking really bad. OU's getting caught up. They have a tough schedule. A lot of O-line issues. But I really like this team, man. Jackson Arnold is going to press people. Deion Burks, the Purdue transfer, is unbelievable. Dominic Williams coming in on the inside from TCU as a nose tackle. I think Oklahoma's gonna. I think this is a big year. I think they're gonna handle Temple by more than 42. Another game I like is Michigan State by 13.5 against the FAU Owls. This is in East Lansing, 7 o'clock on Friday. I like this for one reason alone. You hired an unbelievable coach, Joshua Smith and Aiden Childs. That Michigan State program's been running underwater for 5 years. This is just such a refresh for them. 13.5 is way too low for me. FAU has no business playing against Michigan State up there. I mean, Tom Herman's going to get smacked. That's just, I don't know. He can do whatever he wants. I don't see it. And then another game. This one's kind of funny. I like Western Michigan 23.5 over Wisconsin. Another Friday night game. Just coming in with. This is a lot of points. I don't know anything about Western Michigan besides they're an experienced team, but I could tell you this: Tyler Van Dyke can turn that ball over. So, I mean, even if they're up 20.5,
If
he
there's
can throw right to
anything
the other
Tyler
team.
Van Dyke could do is turn over a ball.
He can turn the
Yeah, but
football
he always
over. This
looks
is a
good to
total.
start the year.
Sure. Well, I'm putting a play against that because, I mean, he was throwing to the other team last year, and I saw it way too often. This is a lot of points to cover. Phil Longo's been the OC over there. It just hasn't hit yet. The defense has been a disaster at Wisconsin. They're switching from a 3-3-5 to a 3-4 with Mike Tressel. There's just a lot going on in Wisconsin. They might be in over their head here. I don't know if Luke Fickell can figure this whole thing out. That's a lot of points. And then Tyler Van Dyke, you got you're gonna have to baby that. If he turns it over, I mean, we've seen what happens. It gets from bad to worse.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot of points. And then one of my last favorite picks, South Carolina, minus 20.5 at home against Old Dominion. This game I love, man. I mean, this is a big year for Beamer, a big year. He's there's a lot of hype coming out of camp from the new QB, Lenore Sellers. He's been impressive. You have an experienced front seven, a good defense. Old Dominion, that's a tough spot for them. I think South Carolina's out to prove some people wrong.
Tough way to start your season.
Yep.
Charlie Pigskin, you got something for us?
Yeah, I got two games I want to highlight more because I find them to be like fascinating games for all the programs involved. First one is North Carolina, Minnesota.
Yeah.
I think that's a super interesting game. North Carolina has had nothing but NFL QBs for the last 4 years and have not been nearly lived up to that potential. What are they going to do this year? They're more talented than they've been, probably better coached at defense than they've been at any time under Mac Brown, but their quarterback situation is definitely worse than anything they've been in the past, and running back situation. They're favored by 2. I know FP Plus and a couple other SP Plus and a couple other metrics have Minnesota as the better team straight up, and Minnesota at home. So I think that could be one where it's surprising, but Minnesota's probably the value play. I want to look at it a little more. Then the other game that I'm surprised you haven't brought up because it's the FCS team. I know they didn't win last year, but they've been so good for so long. North Dakota State playing Colorado.
I was just gonna say I absolutely missed North.
I don't have the balls to pull the North Dakota State money line, but my God, if I could pick like one storyline for next week, all the college football to talk about would be Florida blowing out Miami, but second would be North Dakota State beating Colorado.
This freaking guy. I would be very
and
excited.
That's not hate on Dion and everything like that. I just think it would be super interesting to see a North Dakota State team that's like the complete opposite of what they're doing at Colorado.
Well, here's my thing. I think Colorado's overrated. Like I really do think Colorado's overrated. I don't think they're this team that's unstoppable. I mean, we're talking about a team. We're talking about Colorado. Yes, you have Dion or what's his name, Deshaun Sanders and Travis Hunter's out there, but yeah, I like North Dakota State. I think the points were at 10.5. And I think some places have them.
It should be around 10. Yeah.
Yeah, it was at 9.5, 10. I saw 10.5 too.
Yeah, exactly.
I really like them to cover that spread. I don't think it's a problem.
If it gets over 10, I think I'll jump on it. But regardless, what a narrative that would be if something pops off there.
So this being week 1, we went through all the big games. I do want to go before we head into Florida UM. I do want to touch in a little about some future bets. I have 3 future bets here. I know this isn't fully in agreement with all you guys. I just want to hear your opinion on them. I have Ohio State taking the Big Ten. I think Ohio State is an absolute beast this year. They're one of my favorites to win the whole thing. I think if they're going to lose a game, they'll probably be against Oregon. They'll probably lose it at Oregon, and they'll probably see them again in the conference finals or in the conference final there. And I think it's impossible that they're going to lose to Oregon twice this week, and they'll have that first round bye of college football playoffs. I like Ohio State. It was at plus 150 to win the Big Ten. I also have Utah to win the Big 12. I mean, I know this is kind of a team that was destroyed last year by some injuries. I think Cam Rising is an absolute beast, and he's coming back. This is a team that was Pac-12 champions, 21 and 22, I believe. And I think Kyle Whittingham is doing all the good things there. I think Utah takes the Big 12 at plus 300. And then my unsurprising homer pick is Miami to win the ACC at plus 375. We just saw FSU lost, so that number went up a little bit. But, I mean, we're talking about a Miami team that has everything to prove. I think this is Mario Cristobal's kind of year that he needs to make a statement. This team needs to make moves. They have Cam Ward. They have Damian Martinez in the backfield. I think there's no reason why Miami can't make a run at it this year. I think it's between them, Clemson, and I like Miami. I like Miami this year a lot to win it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, a couple of those futures I could touch on. I mean, the Ohio State one, I've taken a bunch of those tickets as well this year. I think Ohio State's the best team in the country. I think Jim Knowles' defense is going to be close to the Georgia levels in 2020,
Yeah.
2021. I actually think what's pretty fascinating, I might put a play on them. They play Akron on Saturday. They're a minus 50.5 point spread. That's a lot of points. I don't think Akron can cross the 50 versus Ohio State. I mean, it's only 7 touchdowns. They might be up 42 nothing at halftime. Jeremiah
That's a lot
Smith's
of
probably going
points,
to catch
dude.
3 touchdowns alone. It is, but usually when you see a team this talented, they don't put a number up. They won't let you take Ohio State versus a team like this.
That spread's coming
Um,
down fast. That
Yeah,
spread's
yeah.
coming down.
and
It's gone down 3 points in the last day.
I'm going to take that because Jim Knowles, this defense is terrifying.
Stu, do you
And then
worry about like sorry to interrupt these big spreads? I know in college football, it used to be that in college they used to destroy these teams, right? Like if a team, especially because they wanted to get up on the rankings, so these big programs would destroy on the little guys. Do you think that's going to matter as much? I know we're still on a top 25 rank system, right? But do you think it's going to matter as much to like just dominate on these younger? On these smaller programs, and then it kind of affects those 50.5 point spreads?
I think it's going to matter this year. You're bringing in a new offensive coordinator and Chip Kelly. Ryan Day's seat is hot over there, and he's winning everything. Sure, in the BCS era, you had to do it. Maybe now with the committee, you don't need to do it as much. But I think Ohio State's out to prove something this year. There's so much talent in that room. I don't see how they don't. And the defense is, when you have a defense that can hold people to 0 points.
Yeah.
I mean, their defense might be at Michigan's level last year. They might annihilate this team off the face of the earth. On the future side, I hold your Miami tickets as well. I mean, you already went into it, but if you're taking a Miami future, I think you got to chase the high ceiling. I think you got to chase winning the ACC at plus 400 or making the playoffs at plus 240. Don't even look at that 9.5 over under at even odds or whatever it is. That's a waste of time. And then one last feature just to touch on while we're at it. Man, the Syracuse under 7.5. I'm really considering going in on this one. They were terrible last year. 110th in points per game allowed, 70th in points per game. Kyle McCord comes in. I watched a lot of Kyle McCord last year, and I just not impressed at all, man. I want to short this thing while I can. I just think 6 or 7 wins is a lot more likely than 8 or 9. I'm not buying this Syracuse team at all. They have 4 free wins: Ohio, Holy Cross, UNLV, and UConn. I see 3 immediate losses. I don't think they can touch Miami, North Carolina State, or Virginia Tech. And then they're going to have to win 4 of the next 5 versus Georgia Tech, who looked pretty good. Stanford, not very good, but Pittsburgh's not a bad team. BC and Cal's got a little hype to them. So I just don't see it with Syracuse either.
Yeah. Syracuse is garbage, right? The Orange Men are just not doing well this year.
It's a brand new coach too with Fran Brown, the old Georgia defensive backs coach. He's never been a head coach before. I mean, I think he's going to do well recruiting there, but this is first year, and then Kyle McCord's your answer. I don't know.
Yeah. Charlie, you have any futures for us?
Yeah, I do. I like all the futures you guys mentioned. I do like that Syracuse one. I'll join Stupid Stu, who sounded smart there.
Smart Stu.
I like the
Smart Stu.
Yeah, it's smart Stu on that one. I liked all the futures you mentioned as well too. Ohio State, I go back and forth on the best way to chase their value as being the second best team, because my concern is that, like, I wonder what the
freaking Charlie, dude.
it's like
Mid draft,
kids.
baby.
Sorry about that. I'm gonna change my team name to Charlie Pigskin in this league. Fuck it. But
You
Ohio
should call it
State,
Charlie
like,
Pitts. Charlie Pitts.
I don't like the fantasy names that are too punny with the team.
I love a good pun. Love a good pun. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
That Ohio State, I agree that top 2 team in the country, most to prove. I think what they care about is the Michigan game. I don't love them covering the spread this weekend. One thing with big spreads is this year that I kind of want to, I'm staying away from all the big spreads that take a lot to cover, because these clock rules are gonna just mean a lot less plays than we're used to in college football. And I don't think that's gonna play too many times in too many games, but I do think it matters when you're trying to score 8 touchdowns just to cover a spread, and you're expecting to score those in the first half because it's going to be all backups in. So I think that gives me a little wary, and I think that's might be some of the reasons why you're seeing that number come down from 51 to 48 really quick over the last couple of days. But yeah, I think Ohio State in the Big Ten title game, they my guess is that they're going to be already in the playoff no matter what. Obviously, you're playing for a bye to win, but if they're playing an Oregon team, that's a team that's a top five talented team, really good team, and might be playing to have to get in, needing that game more than Ohio State does. So that's where it scares me saying like Ohio State could be the much better team, and you just lose one game in the Big Ten title game. It doesn't
Mhm.
mean that much to Ohio State's season and what they want to accomplish. They could beat Michigan with a national title without that, but it could mean everything for your bet. So that's where I don't know what the right answer is. I think it makes perfect sense, but I don't know what the right answer is to chase that Ohio State talent and upside.
Yeah, I agree.
But my favorite future, my number one future is the team that is coming back with the most returning production of any team in the country. It's a team that got off to a slow start last year, which took, I think, people off the scent. But in the second half of the year, they played three ranked teams. They went 2-1, losing a very close game in their only loss. And you can get them at 10-1 in what I think is one of the more wide open conference races in the country, and that's Iowa State. So Iowa State, Matt Campbell is a guy who's lost some sheen. But if you look at his results year in, year out, they're very similar since what they've been since his first year. Um, I think they're going to be, they're one of the, like I said, one of the most experienced teams. I think they were much better, especially at the end of the year, than what they seem like on all the metrics and what they seem like by people's perceptions. And in the Big 12, like I don't think they're the best team in the Big 12, but if
Hmm.
you give me a team that I think is one of the best coached, I think is going to be one of the best teams, and it's going to be, I think there's kind of like a group of four teams in the Big 12 that are head and shoulders above the rest. I like taking, a little 10-1 lotto ticket for them to win the Big 12.
Yeah, I like that. For the Big 12, I was kind of thinking either TCU or a like Arizona,
Yeah,
but
I mean, honest, Arizona, you got to stay away. They just lost way too much, like
yeah,
in
I know, I
spring
know, I know, I know.
in the portal. I love Fafita though. That is what an electric player to watch.
Yeah, yeah, I like all those futures. Have any futures for us?
I mean, I'm telling most of those to be honest with you.
Awesome, I love it. Guys, I think it's well, almost time, almost time. I have another thing. Heisman picks. Who do you have?
I'll
Me
let
go
Carlos
first.
go. I mean, I just think the Heisman, if you're going
Here's
to
the
take
most.
someone, you need to take a top quarterback that you think is going to do well and finish the season well. It's very correlated with taking a quarterback on a good team. I know Carlos has another point to that might change it a little bit this year,
Oh,
but I'll let
I
him run
think,
with the Heisman.
who are you going?
yeah, my little Heisman like take this year is that because of the playoff, 12 teams, there's going to be way more relevant teams late in the year than we're used to in college football. It used to
Sure.
always be that, only four make the playoff or two make the championship game in the BCS. So a team that's ranked 10th but is a shoe in to make the playoff is going to be more relevant than they've been in years past. So I think that opens the like the Overton window of like who's a possible Heisman winner this year, I think, a little more. And the other fascinating thing for me this year, just for all of college football, but also the Heisman in particular, is that there's so many first year starters that are really talented. I
Yeah.
mean, Will Howard is starting at Ohio State, Dylan Gabriel starting at Oregon. The two programs they left are perfectly fine with, they let them leave almost with Avery Johnson at Kansas State and Jackson Arnold at Oklahoma. That tells you something. Garrett Nussmeier, Nico Yamaleva at Tennessee, Garrett Nussmeier at LSU. There's so many good quarterbacks that, they could go the way of Drew Aller and Cade Klubnik and just not be nearly as good as their pedigree seemed like, or they could be these great players who turn college football on its head in their first year starting, which we've seen all the time with Caleb Williams. We've seen with so many good quarterbacks. So that's one thing I'm really really excited for this year in college football. So like my long shot pick to that end is Jackson Arnold. I think if Oklahoma is 9-3 with their schedule, they're gonna have plenty of big time games that he can showcase. And even with three losses, they'll be in the playoff mix. And I just think they let Dylan Gabriel leave for a reason. And I think he might be because he's the real deal.
Yeah, I think I had earlier opinion where I thought and again this is maybe a little bit of homer bias, but I thought if the Canes are in the college football playoff, or if they end up being a top 10 team, I do see Cam Ward being in the conversation for a Heisman candidate. We're talking about a team that was built up, or even Martinez, depending on the style of game. I really don't know what we're going to see from a running back. I mean, I don't know when the last time we had a running back Heisman winner. But I do like Cam Ward. I mean, if they win the ACC, I think he's almost, top 2 candidate. I also really like Dylan Gabriel here to win it. I mean, I feel like Oregon's a beast. I think he plays really well. He's going to be outstanding. I don't see him playing bad this year. I like him to win the Heisman.
I mean, the thought process
You
there
give
is, usually
He's a favorite.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's the favorite right now. Yeah.
But yeah, I think Stu mentioned it. I mean, the Heisman winners, it's a little bit narrative like based, in my opinion. Like it usually goes to a national title contender, unless the dude puts up like all world, crazy numbers that just like stand out over everything, over everyone else. But like, yeah, a guy like Cam Ward, if is in the conversation for the college football playoffs or makes any, wins the ACC and makes any kind of run, then it's because of him. So I think he'll be in the conversation. But yeah, I mean, it's just, this is one of those awards that I don't really like betting futures on it, just because it's so hard. It could change. The odds change so much throughout the season.
Yeah, it's true. And to your point, Carlos, it's kind of wild, this new college football playoffs, right? Where like the G5 has a guaranteed spot in the college football playoffs. That's a team that might come in, sub top 20, like that's not always a super high ranked team. That could be a 24, 25, maybe even unranked, and they still have a spot in the college football playoff. And is that guy considered a Heisman candidate? Like it is probably not, but it could be. Like if he makes a run for it. When do they vote for Heisman? Is it before the playoff?
Yeah, it's between the end of like the championship games
It's gonna be during
and the
like the
playoffs.
bowl.
It's a week after. That's going to be another little storyline. It's because since the first round of the playoffs is so early, if you get invited to go to the Heisman ceremony,
Are you gonna go?
that used
Yeah.
to be, bowl prep time where you weren't practicing yet because it was like finals and things like that. Now, you might have a game, within 10 days of that. So you're not going to be traveling to New York for a full day of photo ops and PR stuff when
Yeah.
you got to prepare for your most important game of the season. So that'll be an interesting little wrinkle this year.
Yeah. It's super exciting. One more thing I want to touch up on. Quick question. In your guys' opinion, how bad is Florida going to lose this weekend to the University of Miami Hurricanes? In my opinion, that is the worst run franchise in the SEC. They ran it to the ground. They're a bunch of criminals, and they deserve to be kicked out of the NCAA.
I can't wait to hear Stu and Carlos go at this.
All right, let's go.
It's not going to be fun.
Let's get dirty. Let's talk about it. Miami versus Florida, the big game of the weekend, arguably the best game of the weekend. What do you guys think? I mean, I don't.
Is it? You guys think it's the best game? I mean, obviously for us because we're all fans.
I do.
Do you think it's?
I actually really do think it's the best. I think it's got the most, like depending on who wins this game, it has the most ripple effect, right? Like if Miami wins, it's a big statement for the ACC. Well, I mean, not that big. I mean, Florida's not as high ranked as it, let's be real. It's not like Georgia. It's not Miami, Georgia, or something like that. But I do think it is a big game for the ACC, a big game for the SEC. I think if Florida beats Miami, it shows a big name for Florida, and they're kind of the historical dominance in the SEC over the ACC. I do think it's a big game. I think there's a lot on the line here, a lot on the line for both programs. What do you guys think?
I think it's a bigger game for Miami than it is for Florida. Personally,
I agree.
I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot more on the line for Miami. Cristobal going to his third year. You got the disaster that was the end of last year. I mean, both teams finished bad last year, but I just think that there's a lot more riding for Miami in this game. I think Florida, if we lose this game, it's a lot harder to get some quality wins based on our schedule. Not that we don't have, some decent teams that we play against, but I mean, if you look at Florida's schedule, if they were to lose this game, there's a lot of games on their schedule where they could just, they can make up a lot for it. They can have some really big signature wins. I mean,
if Florida comes out 9-3 this season,
it's an outrageous schedule.
They'll be impressive if they come out 9-3.
So one thing where I disagree with about who it means more for is that Miami, if they lose, ultimately, like their number one goal this season is to win
To
the
win the
ACC
ACC. Yeah.
because, and if they lose to Florida on the road against a Power Five opponent against a rival, yeah, it's gonna suck, but you're still the most talented team in the ACC. You still have more than a fighting chance to win an ACC that I think is not super strong at the top. So that's what I think. Like Florida to get to 6 wins is going to be a tall task already with the schedule. And I don't say that to make an excuse. I'm just saying like reality with how good they are and the schedule they have to play. And the SEC is just not even like in the cards, to be honest, like with
Yeah.
what we have and what we've shown the last 2 years. So for me, this is a lot more to lose for Miami. And like speaking as a Florida fan, I can tell you if we lose to Miami, all I've talked about this offseason is going 1-0. Like that's all I care about. Like it's just it's a put up or shut up year for Billy Napier. And, for us to win 7 games, 8 games, we're going to have to win a lot of 50-50 games. And it would start with this weekend.
Yeah, I think this is kind of a hot seat year for both coaches. To be honest with you, I think they both
I mean,
both have
but
a lot to prove. I mean, Mario's locked in; he's
I
not
think
going anywhere. But
Yeah.
he can. I mean,
it could get
he
hot quick, though. It could get
it
hot
could.
quick
That's what I'm
if like,
saying.
what I mean? Like, you can't every year have this thing of like, we're the most talented team and we're going to be great because that's a lot of the narrative for UM last year, too. And they ended up, falling flat, going 1-4 down the stretch. They've played 4 top 15 teams and lost every single one. Like, not many close games either in those games. So, like, I mean, I know Mario's record has been better than Billy Napier's, but if you look at like the results, a lot of it is not an easy schedule. I know, Kev, you can, take a drink
Yeah,
for
I,
you
I,
mentioning
I
tough
don't I
schedule.
don't think it's hot seat for Mario. I think it's way hotter for Napier. I mean, you've had four
Okay, of
coaches since
course.
2014 in Gainesville. That's just it's and he's already had some boosters cut off funding is the rumor to him. I think it's
Really?
way hotter for Napier. I do agree exactly with what Javi was mentioning. Miami and Carlos mentioned on it too. Miami, you drop this game, you still have the ACC to look forward to. Cam Ward's still here. You have your whole season ahead of you. Florida's going to have a ton of opportunities to win a big game. So it kind of goes both ways, but it is the most exciting week one game on the slate, unless you want to
Oh,
watch a snooze
absolutely.
fest with
Absolutely.
A&M Notre Dame or no defense with LSU and USC. So this game is, I mean, it's got everything.
Yeah, I
The
think the
stakes, the stakes of this game, unbelievable.
unbelievable, especially we're all Miami guys. This is like what we live for, right? A lot of Miami guys, they're either Canes, Gators, Knowles. There's a few others spread out between here and there, but those are the big three. I mean, this is not even. I think for nationally, right? This is like one of the. I know. Wait, as a Gator, you're a hater on the Canes or you're a hater on the Knowles more?
I hate every
Equally.
single team. Like, yeah, Tennessee, Georgia, you could throw those in there too. I
Well,
despise them.
Tennessee,
Like, I
Tennessee,
don't,
their best player is an absolute criminal, a creep, from my understanding. Is that right?
I wouldn't say that about Peerless Price.
Just think, I don't know about. I really like this. I really like this game. I like that we're playing it in Gainesville. I like that the
I like
stakes
that
are
too.
high. I like that stakes are high. The swamp is going to be rocking. That Miami shows up. Miami shows up for Gators games. They really do. And I think this is going to be a lot. I think it's going to be very competitive. I think it's going to be a one of these games where, sure, on paper it might look a little bit outweighed on one side on talent than the other. But
How?
but I
That's
do
what's
think.
crazy to me. How Miami fans talk about their team is nuts to me.
What are you talking
Like
about?
you look
Miami's full of
the 20
talent.
look at the 24/7 sports composite ranking coming into this year for overall roster talent. We're literally ranked ahead of UM. With last year's
No,
recruiting, we had a ranked transfer class ahead of UM, and UM had a very good transfer class. But yes, like this is my biggest thing with Miami fans is that they live in like this insular world where they're the only ones who exist.
Yeah.
the talent and the
Florida
rankings of
is
recruiting is actually
just
dead on. Even. We finished sixth composite net transfer and overall they finished seventh. In 2023 we finished eighth. They finished 12th. In 2022 we finished
it's
13th.
close.
They finished 17th. And in 2021 we finished 11th. They finished 12th. So it's within one or two spots pretty much every single year.
Yeah, we're up every
That's
every
net
time.
overall
I mean,
247 composite and transfer composite.
yeah.
Listen, at this point, I think Boy Charlie's just supporting an inferior team, and he's upset, and he's wearing his shirt, and he's sweating about it, and he's nervous about his buddy Billy Napier there, and he's worried he's going to get fired, and he's
I'm
sweating
not
it.
worried about it. We'll get a new coach. We'll get a new coach if we need it.
The thing is, who's
But
going to
no,
want to coach Florida?
my real take on this game is I do agree with Miami fans when they talk about their team and they talk about the potential of this team. Like I think
Yeah,
way
they have
more
a
than
high
Florida,
ceiling. They
Miami
have a high
has
ceiling.
has a higher ceiling, mainly because I think their quarterback has a much higher ceiling than Graham
Yeah.
Mertz does. I think I think the balance of the talent throughout the roster is better on Miami side. Like Florida has a very talented defense on paper, not super talented on offense, but we're more experienced, more productive, more production back on offense. But in general, I just think these are two teams that are way more alike than Miami fans are giving credit to. Like, there's a reason why the spread is so close. There's a reason why, value from a value betting perspective, Florida would be the play based on like all these
Yeah.
advanced metrics. I'm not saying I buy that necessarily, but if you look at all those advanced metrics, they'll have Florida they'll either have it as a pick 'em or Florida favored by like one. Look, I mean, Florida
Yeah,
every year,
I saw it
even in our
29,
worst
28 in
years,
some places.
yeah, like Florida, even in our worst years, always have swamp games where, 2 years ago like 3 years ago we almost beat Alabama when we didn't even make a bowl and got Dan Mullen fired. Last year we beat a Tennessee team that we shouldn't have beaten, and we beat them handily by double digits when they were favored by double digits. Like the problem is we have a lot of swamp games this year, so I don't know which one it'll be, but ultimately I think it's two even teams. I think if Miami isn't hit the potential that they can hit, and they're relying on a lot of transfers playing in their first game. A lot of those transfers are also spring transfers, like post-spring transfers, which are harder to do. I think, when it's even like that, I'll take the swamp all day.
Listen, I think Miami has one of the best defensive lines, and I know they said that about FSU. I do think that I know it came out that FSU said that they had the best defensive line in college football. But I actually think Miami does. I know their secondary is
Michigan,
kind of
yeah,
weak.
UM does. UM does. Michigan's got the best D line in the country.
Oh, Michigan could go screw themselves. I think that Miami's offense has been upgraded completely. I think Mario Cristobal, he always has shitty losses, but they're never necessarily these big losses. Like they're not against these bigger teams. They're usually against like the Georgia Techs or something stupid, some game management loss. I don't think that's
I
going to
agree
be
with
the
that.
case this weekend. I think this is going to be a very good game, a game that's going to be very exciting for everyone nationally. I think all eyes are on this game. All eyes are going to be here. Is it game day? Is it a game day game?
No.
I don't think so. No.
Of
No,
course it's
it's
Uh,
not.
3:30 ABC. I don't think it's gonna get game day.
That's right.
But
It's
I
on
mean,
three. That's right.
I'm,
It's on
No, it's
3:30.
not going to.
the one thing that does like and Jaime was saying, the one thing that does make me a little nervous is the fact that we are going on the road and playing in the swamp for the opening game. We have a lot of first year transfer guys. Um, playing their first game at the swamp for this program. That's not an easy place to play, man. I've gone to a couple games there before, and when that place gets rocking, watch out. So that's the one thing that makes me nervous, but that doesn't mean that I'm not, just absolutely hammering Miami in every way possible.
All day, dude.
I,
I'm
I think
so
you should,
overhyped
Javi.
on
I
this.
think you should.
I'm so there's nothing that Carlos can say this entire day that'll convince me otherwise. We're gonna win this 100%.
Stu,
I
you've
think
been
there. I
quiet.
think there is a.
I need to hear Stu. I need to hear
Bet
Stu's
the
take on this
spread,
game.
bet the spread, bet
Sure.
the
I
money
mean, I could
line,
go through it.
bet whatever you want. Bet whatever you want. We're gonna win it.
I think there is
Give
a
it to
talent
Stu.
difference here. I think there's three issues that Florida's going to have, and I do think Florida is a lot better than the national media is maybe giving credit for. I mean, if you look at Florida's defensive 6 or 7 guys they got coming in, Sapp's unbelievable. Cam Jackson looks like one of the studs. Like if that guy gets pressure up the middle, that's a problem for Miami. Slackman can do the same. Justice Boone missed a year, but if he's a good rusher off the edge, but I think Florida's still they're still weak in the secondary and can get challenged. They got some issues. Their offensive line is a huge question, but the real issue here is going to be the difference on the line. Miami last year was 20th in the country in rushing the ball 5 yards per play per carry. Florida finished 71st in the country with 4.1 yards per carry. That's not very good. Their offensive line still hasn't improved that much. They just lost their best running back. And now it looks like Montreal Johnson's going to be out. So you might like Ball or some of these other freshmen, but I mean, that's a huge issue going against Miami's defensive line. This Miami defensive line, rushing yards per attempt, we finished on defense, we finished 20th in the country, allowing 3.5 yards a carry. Florida was 117th, allowing 5.1 yards per carry. A lot of that broke down once Florida got a little depleted last year through the season. Miami kind of had the same situation. We had to bump Dane inside. But, I mean, there's a big difference here between the rushing ability of Miami and Florida's rushing ability. I think it's a big void on top of the fact that I'm not sold on Graham Mertz. I don't think he's bad. I watched that spring game. He put the ball in trouble 3 or 4 times over the middle. I think if Miami's able to put pressure on this kid, he might turn the ball over. I personally think this is a game. I know it's crazy. I understand why they're not starting him, but I think I'd be a little more scared if Lagway was in there. He's 240 pounds. This kid can make plays with his feet. He looked unbelievable in the spring game. He made a couple throws rolling out. I think he has more of ability because I think we have that on our edge, on our side with Cam Ward. I mean, Cam Ward can run to make a throw.
Absolutely.
Cam Ward's numbers are stupid. He threw for 25-7 last year, 23-9 the year before, 3,700 yards, 6th in the country in total pass yards. He's the number 1 player returning in the country with pass yards. I think Miami's got playmakers everywhere. The tight end Elijah Arroyo is just there's no linebacker or safety in the country that can cover this kid. Isaiah Horton has been emerging too on top of the Brown and Restrepo. I mean, Miami's got a little more impact players, I'd say, on the outside. And I think when you have these sloppy games, it goes down to the impact players. I mean, when we lost a few years ago, it was a pitch out to Kadarius Toney, who made that play, broke a bunch of tackles. DJ Dallas had it's guys who can just make plays, and Montreal Johnson being out, man, I mean, if Florida can't run the ball, Miami's going to get them one-dimensional. I don't see how Miami – I don't think we blow them out. I think Florida's really good up front. It's in the swamp. Mario, if he does get the lead, he's probably just going to run the ball.
Yeah.
Damian and Fletcher, it's not going to be fun. I'm going to be sweating the whole time. But, I mean, Florida doesn't have impact players. They have a decent receiving core, but besides Eugene Wilson, who's the definition of an impact player, I don't know. They're going to need someone else to make a play. Their tight end room is really
That's where I see the issue, right? Like, I think Florida's strength is that receiving core, and that's kind of Miami's weakness, right? So that's why I'm kind of hesitant.
I like Florida's 5 or 6 receivers for the season, but I don't know which ones are going to be like emerge on the scene draft day picks. I mean, Sam Brown's a top 50 projected pick next year. He might be our 3rd best receiver. I mean, I don't think Florida's rolling around with the receiving core. They got a much improved receiving core. And Tez Eugene Wilson, that kid is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I mean, I don't disagree with a lot of what Stu said. I just think a lot of what all of you are saying about Young is a lot of projection. You know, like you're expecting guys to step up that haven't necessarily done it before. I mean,
that's
obviously,
all we have, right? That's all we have.
but every college does that. But you know, like everyone, you know, we saw with Florida State, and I'm not saying Florida's trying to play the Georgia Tech role, but you know, we do these projections for these transfers and stuff, and like you see a lot first-year transfers versus second-year transfers. Those second-year transfers are much more successful once they've had a year in the system, and especially at quarterback. So, like, look, I mean, Cam Ward is as high potential a guy as you can get in the portal.
Yeah.
He's not, you know, we'll see what he actually is game 1 in the swamp. You know, I don't know.
I agree. Cam Ward will be the issue if Florida's going to somehow win this game, getting pressure. But on the production side, Miami returned 79% of their production, and the playmakers have been on the team. Elijah Arroyo was out all season. He's been unbelievable. Isaiah Horton's turned the corner. Unbelievable. He played unbelievable in the bowl game. Jacoby George has been on the team, had 2 touchdowns, 150 against FSU. And then Restrepo catches everything. He's the highest catch rate in the country. And then you bring in Damian Martinez. This kid's 230. This kid's unbelievable with Fletcher coming behind it. I mean, the impact players are there. The production is there, and it actually comes from Miami. It's not transfers. I agree on the Cam Ward side. If Cam Ward's
you're just mentioning players that played last year on a bad football team. That's all you're doing. That's
no.
Fine.
I mean, they a lot of some of them didn't play
well.
I am not a big believer in this Gator team. I just think we have a good chance to win this weekend at home against a team that I think we're pretty equal to. So that's how I see it. I'm excited. I can't wait.
I
I will
think
say
Charlie.
one
I
big.
think he's scared. I think he's scared.
Yeah,
and
the lack of enthusiasm is very
the
much
lack
like,
of
oh,
enthusiasm. He's scared.
I'm going to take this.
I
I'm going to
cannot
take
wait.
this stance on it.
I'm going to the game. Stu's staying here in Miami. I'm going to the game. I'm throwing a tailgate. I got fans. I got everyone going where it's going to be a big time week. I can't wait for the Swamp to show out, and let's see what happens on the
Listen,
field.
all right, right now, everyone, what's your best bet for the game?
Under. I think both offenses. Listen,
Under
it's
total?
Billy Napier versus Mario Cristobal with new clock rules. There's going to be some shitty clock management. There's going to be some shitty.
Well, that's for sure. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
no,
That's-
from both
so,
coaches.
I
That's
think-
gonna be,
Both coaches
Yeah,
don't know anything about game management.
That's one thing I want to bring up is I was looking at like the Florida Miami matchups since like 2000, like this century,
Uh-huh.
and since Butch Davis and Steve Spurrier played in that Sugar Bowl in 2000, early 2001, there hasn't been a good coach matchup between Florida and UM, which just tells you everything about both programs since then. Because it was Larry Coker versus Ron Zook.
Ron
twice.
Zook was great. We loved
Then
that
it
one.
was then it was Charlie Strong as an interim versus Larry Coker. Then it was Al Golden versus Will Muschamp, and then it was Dan Mullen versus Al Golden. I mean,
What about the Randy Shannon Urban Meyer game? I was sitting
Yeah.
in the swamp in 2008
Oh,
for
Randy
that one.
Randy Shannon, Urban Meyer. Too. Yeah,
It was
another
9-3 at halftime.
Randy
That
Shannon,
was unbelievable.
26-3 final. We covered, baby. That was beautiful.
It was 26-3. Urban Meyer kicked the field goal the last play to cover. I won't forget
And
that.
hell yeah, do you
great
not want your
teams.
coach to kick it to cover?
Great teams
you gotta
cover, baby.
respect
Great
that. How
teams
you hating
cover.
on that?
Great teams cover.
Yeah.
You got to respect it. Yeah, I'm super excited for this weekend. I think this is going to be a phenomenal game. I think everyone's going to get super excited. I know I'm going to be locked in watching it here. Got to get the barbecue rolling. I'm going to do my own personal tailgate at the house. Unfortunately, I can't make the drive up there like you are, buddy. But I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have a good time. Make sure you wear your UM colors. I know that you're secretly a huge UM fan, and you know you're going to lose.
I was supposed to be at Jamio's tailgate. We had a hotel booked and everything.
You have other
Javi
issues.
was a VIP member.
Javi,
Well,
you have
yeah,
other issues.
Javi, by the way, he comes from a Gator household, so this is a big weekend for him too.
Javi's a house.
Definitely-
Javi's a house
Definitely not a
divided.
Gator household.
His
Javi's
wife,
a house divided.
his wife is a Gator. His wife is a Gator, and his son is a Gator. So this
My
is
son is
His son's
definitely
not a
right?
gator. Do
My
not
son
put
is
those words in your
absolutely
mouth.
his son is a Gator.
No, we've
He's
actually,
not a Gator.
I've actually trained him on which team to pick. If
Does
you
he
ask him
just
which
throw up
team to
little-
pick, he tries to.
He
Yeah,
throws up little
it's kind. It looks
Oh,
more
wait.
like it looks more like a gang sign, but
Yeah,
But
he's,
I'm
he's
up-
more like a
I'm
blood
up-
or a crip, but here we are.
I'm up in the 14th round, so I'm trying to get like a high.
Get
high
yourself
potential-
what's his name?
one-
Marshawn Lloyd. Is he still available?
I'm between
No.
Jaleel McLaughlin, Jalen Wright, and Marshawn Lloyd.
Lloyd.
no,
I kinda
Yes,
like
dude.
Still with Jalen Wright.
I would say Jalen
Yeah.
Wright.
Marshawn
Listen,
Lloyd.
You know I
Marshawn
hate
Lloyd.
Tennessee, but I think Jalen Wright's a stud.
Or what's his name? I don't know if he's been picked. What's his name? LSU Thomas, the LSU receiver for Jacksonville.
Oh, Brian, that's a
Brian
good one.
Thomas Jr. That kid's
Brian Thomas
unbelievable.
Jr. The guy's a beast. I don't know if he's still available, but he's
No, it looks like he's gone, but that would have been a nice pick.
All
if
right,
he was
so
available.
before we close up, what give us your full roster right now?
Yeah, it's fine. It's all right. Jordan Love, Jordan Jefferson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Kenneth Walker, Montgomery, Kyle Pitts. Flex is Nico Collins, and then my bench is Xavier Worthy, Rico Dowdle, Keon Coleman, and Jalen Wright.
That's an 8,
Let's go, Balls.
7-7 or 8-6 team. That's all I see. That's all I see. There.
no, it's not a bad team.
As long as I
think
make the
it's-
playoff. I
think
hate the
it's-
8 spot. Like those first two picks, like
That's the thing. 8
haven't
spot's a
put
bad
Marvin Harrison
spot.
in that second round.
Eight,
But I like
a tough
Brandon
spot,
Allen.
but those are still. I mean, you got
That's
Judd
still-
and Marvin Harrison.
still good team, still good
That's
team.
still pretty good.
Also, before we sign off, let's not forget that after this week, Florida's going to be 17-25 since Marco Wilson threw that shill. That's just a stat we're never going to let go.
Maybe 18-24.
I don't know about that.
17-25, guys.
17,
thank you
25. Lock it in, boys.
so much for joining us, guys. Stupid Stu, Charlie
First time on the
Pigskin.
pod. For Stu.
Stupid
Love
Stu.
it.
I hope we see you again, man. This was
Definitely,
gonna help
definitely
everyone
gotta
lose
bring
a
him
lot of
back,
money.
man. He crushed it with the college.
He's
football
crushed it,
picks
guys.
today.
I'm gonna set up and I'll be hitting it up some a little bit of housekeeping. I'll be throwing up all these picks that we talked about today up on the Instagram, up on Twitter. Make sure you guys follow us. Oh, I don't have the things down here, so I can't say that, but I'll send them. I'll attach them there. Make sure you guys follow, like, subscribe. We'll have Charlie Pigskin, Stupid Stu's picks. Hav will throw out some picks. I'll throw out some picks. Make sure you guys follow, like, subscribe, and check out the geocache. We're giving away free money, guys. Free money. I don't know if you guys seen it, but people are just stealing my money constantly, and I don't appreciate it. And Javi doesn't appreciate it either. So thank you guys so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Have a good weekend. Go Canes.
Go Canes.
You've been listening to First Step. We told you we don't take this too seriously, didn't we? I'd say we've proven that. Yes, we love sports, and we love sports betting. But we like the funner side, not the stuffy side. We hope you had a blast like we did. If so, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on Instagram and TikTok at First Step Bets. See you next time on First Step.
Good pod.